Hi guys, this is your lesson on percent and percent problems. So you should have just made a foldable on some, I think it was pink paper, that might be a little confusing at this point. So first I'm going to explain how to use this, and then I'm going to go through some examples of how to solve the problems. So your foldable, the front, when it's closed, should look something like this. So you have is over of is equal to a percent over 100. What that means is that you're going to see a bunch of problems where it says some numbers. So it's going to say something like some number is some percent of some other number. It might look a little confusing right now, but hopefully once I go through some examples, it'll make a little more sense. The other thing on your foldable, once you open it up, it says part over whole equals percent over 100. What that means is that part of something you put on the top of the fraction, the whole amount or the total amount you put on the bottom, and then you have your percent set up the same way. So either way, whether using part and whole or whether you're using is and of, your percent amount, whether it's something you're looking for or something that you're already given, that's going to make one fraction. The other information is going to make another fraction, and then you'll notice since we have a proportion set up with two fractions, you're going to solve it by cross multiplying. So you're going to have three numbers and you're going to have an x somewhere and you're going to cross multiply. So let's go to some examples because I know this is probably pretty confusing right now. So the first few examples all have something like this. These are like the worksheet that you're going to be given out. So you're given basically three numbers. You're always given 100 because it's percent. Percent means out of 100. So you're always going to be able to do this first. And then you're going to have to figure out your other two numbers that you're given, where they go. So first example, 56 is 90% of blank. So 56% is, there's the keyword is. So 56 goes right here because is on the top of your foldable. 56% is, 56 is 90%, so 90 goes over 100, 90%. Of what number? Of is the keyword here, so X or N or whatever number, or whatever letter you want to use goes on the bottom. So then we can just solve this by cross multiplying. So in your calculators, I want you to go 56 times 100 divided by 90 and see what you get. You should end up with something like 62.22222. We're going to round that just like always. So then we're going to have, in this case, X is equal to 62.2. Or if you're given a worksheet like this, you're going to put 62.2 on this line right here. Excuse me. Okay, let's go through another example. 40 is blank percent of 50. So here's our keyword. There's is, there's of, and we're looking for a percent. So if we're looking for a percent, I'm going to put an X on the top of my second fraction with 100. And then over here, 40 is, so 40 goes on the top, and it says of 50. So 50 goes on the bottom. Cross multiply, so circle these two. 40 times 100 divided by 50. If you put that in your calculator, you'll get 80. So you can fill in 80 right there. Now if you want to write down all the steps, you're more than welcome to do that, and you should also double check and make sure that this is the right answer. How do we check by cross multiplying? You go 40 times 100 is 400. 50 times 80, because 80 will be here where the X is also 400. So they're both the same, which means we have the correct answer. Third example, blank is 70% of 250. So we don't know what is, the keyword is, we don't know that number. So I'm going to put an X right here. 70%, so 70 over 100. Remember, all the percents are out of 100. And then we're given of 250. So that's going to go right here. We're going to cross multiply 250 times 70 divided by 100, and we get 175. No rounding needed. Now I'm going to show you some examples that are worded a little bit differently, so you have to pick them apart a little bit differently than the first one. So first I'm going to set up my proportion so I can cross multiply. So 6% of 33 is what number? I'm going to start with my percent. I know my percent, so 6 over 100 goes right here. 6% of 33. So my 33 is with of, which means it goes on the bottom. Is what number? Is goes with the number we don't know, so that's why I put my x on the top. Cross multiply 33 times 6 divided by 100, and you'll find, I'm going to write it up here, you'll find that x is equal to 1.98. There's only two numbers after the decimal, so I'm going to leave it the way it is, and I'm not going to round. If there was a bunch more numbers, I would round. Next example. 12% of what number is 70? So I know my percent, I'm going to start there. 12 over 100 is 12%. Of what number? We don't know the of one, the whole thing. Is 70. 70 is part of the number. So 70 out of some number is 12%. So I'm going to cross multiply 70 times 100 divided by 12, and you're going to get that x is equal to 583.33333. So I'm going to round this, 583.333, and so on, will give me, I'm going to write it up here, a little more space, 583. I'm just going to round this into the whole number because we don't really need the decimals. We're not talking about money or a specific amount of something, so a whole number is okay, as long as you realize that we rounded. So circle this one, underline this one. This is 3, so this one stays 3. Another example. What percent of 5 is 30? Okay, so we're looking for the percent here, which means my x will go on the top of my 100. Now this one's a little tricky. Normally you would think about 5% of 30, or 5 out of 30, sorry. But this says of 5 is 30. So if you notice, if the number on the top is bigger than the number on the bottom, we're going to get a really big number for our percent. Because you're looking at every 5 things, you have 30 of them. So that's a big, big percent. So we're going to cross multiply 30 times 100 divided by 5 will give us 600. So 30 is 600% of 5. Now I'm going to jump into some word problems. These ones you'll have to pick apart a little better. And you'll have to remember there's 2 options for your foldable, is and of. But if you open it up, inside it says part and whole. Depending on the word problem and depending on the words that are used in the problem, one or the other might be an easier way to think about it. So let's go through this example. Of the 50 seats on a bus, 80% were filled. How many seats were filled? So we're looking for a number out of some other number. As always, we're going to cross multiply. So I see 2 different numbers in my question here. 50 seats and 80%. I'm going to start with the 80%. We know 80 out of 100 is 80%. So we're looking for a number out of some other number. So that means that of 50 will go on the bottom and our x will go on the top. The other way you can think about this is there's 50 total seats on the bus. That's the whole amount on the bus. So that goes on the bottom. You're looking for a part that are filled. There's a certain number of people sitting in those 50 seats. So that would be the part of the whole. So x is what you're looking for, and it goes on the top. Just like always, we are going to cross multiply 50 times 80 divided by 100, and we get that x equals 40. So that means 40 seats on the bus were filled. I don't have space on the little screen here, but since this is a word problem, if there isn't a sentence already given to you in the question where you have to fill in a blank, you need to write a sentence. So a good sentence for this would be something like, 40 seats on the bus were filled. Very simple. Just look at the question. How many seats were filled? 40 were filled. Another example. A contractor has removed 600 cubic feet of earth. So far, 75% of the work has been done. How many cubic feet of earth will be removed? So let's set this up and fill in the numbers. So here's a percent. Here's 600 cubic feet of earth. So I'm going to start with the percent. 75 over 100. That fraction's done. What can we put in the first one? A contractor has removed 600 cubic feet of earth. 75% has been done. How many will be removed? So we're looking for the total amount, which means that X will go on the bottom and 600 will go on the top. Right now, 600 have been removed, but the contractor is only 75% done. Part of the earth has been removed. The whole amount has not been removed yet. So we will cross multiply 600 times 100 divided by 75. We get that X equals 800 cubic feet. One more word problem. Last season, a baseball player hit 48 home runs. So far this season, she has hit 30 home runs. What percent of last season's home runs has she hit this season? Okay, we're looking for a percent. What percent? So the X will go here, 100 will go on the bottom, and then we have two other numbers. So we have to figure out which one goes where. Last season, 48 were hit. This season, 30 have been hit. What percent of last season's home runs? Of goes with last season's home runs, which is 48. So I'm going to put that on the bottom. And this season, she's hit 30. So we're going, what percent is 30 out of 48? We will cross multiply 30 times 100 divided by 48. And you will get X equals 62.5%. Another word problem, so you should have a concluding sentence at the end of this. And here's one more final word problem just for you guys. During a lesson, 7 out of 16 students were talking at the same time. You know who you are. What percent of students in the class need to raise their hands and wait their turns to be heard? Alright, so 7 out of 16 students. Think about this as like 7 out of 16 on a quiz. How do you set that up? 7 out of 16. We're looking for a percent. X over 100. We can cross multiply. If you go 7 times 100 divided by 16, you will get that X equals 43.75%. A good concluding sentence is that 43.75% of our class needs to raise their hand. Have a good day, guys.